I'm talking today with Larry Sigle, who's the executive director of,
Executive
of
Director.
IC of ICMG, and I thought it'd be very interesting because ICMG has an interesting story. Larry has an interesting story, and we've had a lot of success in the last few years. So I thought it'd be really interesting to go through this with Larry and get his perspective on where we're at. So I thought I'd start out by, I know what ICMG stands for, but maybe some of the people who end up listening to this don't. To start out with, what is ICMG and what's like a brief history of how it started, and go from there.
Sure. All right. ICMG is the Intercompany Marketing Group, and we have been around 42 years now. This coming up will be our 42nd annual conference, and it started with six people who decided that they wanted to sell each other's products, or at least have the opportunity to. So they met that first year, and what it was is Company A, they maybe sold life insurance, but their agents wanted to sell health insurance. And back in that day, a lot of the companies were captive, and so the only way those agents could get access to other markets was to go through some type of intercompany relationship. Otherwise, they'd violate the terms of the contract. So that's really kind of how it started. And again, it was six people that met, 1985. So they've been that was our start. We've been around a long time. We've grown. It wasn't too many years after they started. Initially, it was life and health insurance companies only. And then they opened it up after just 4 or 5 years, opened it up so the distribution side could come as well. And so now not only do we have the carriers, but we have the large marketing organizations. We've expanded. We've now got companies that support the life and health insurance industry. And basically what we do is we bring them together every year to our annual conference, and that gives them a chance to sit down, talk to each other, and find ways of doing business together. So over the years, we've done a lot of different things. We had a lot of educational sessions for a while that seemed to work. But the thing that we've learned over the years is the people that come to ICMG, they're coming to talk to each other. They want to network, and so that's what our entire focus is on.
Yeah, that's good. It's hard to believe, at least for me. I don't know if it's for you, but when I hear 1985 and that's ancient history, doesn't seem that long ago to me. I don't know, but it has been a long time. So I think it would be interesting for everybody, your background. I mean, we've had a lot of success over the last few years. Your background, how you got initially involved with ICMG and found out about it, and how you got to where you are today.
Well, like I said, I've been in the life and health insurance industry myself for a number of years. I started out as an agent out in the field, selling life insurance, selling health insurance. At the time, I was actually a full line agent, so we were selling property, casualty, farms, crop insurance, the whole bit. It didn't take me very long doing that, but I decided I wanted to focus on the life and health side, and eventually ended up not only as an agent, but I've been in agency management, I've been in sales management, I've been in product development, ended up in home offices, and on a lot of different things, and eventually ended up at Continental General up in Omaha. And at Continental General, I met a gentleman by the name of Don Camp. And Don, the first thing he told me, he said, "Larry, you need to be at ICMG." So he took me to ICMG that first year, invited me to go, and that was 2000. 2001 was my first annual conference. And so I went and have missed very, very few of them since then. And just a great opportunity to meet people. And with Don there, because anybody that knows about ICMG knows we've got the Don Camp Lifetime Achievement Award. It was named after him. It actually was awarded that first year that I attended. So 2001 was the year that he received that. But it's kind of an honor to me to have known Don personally, and he's the one that actually brought me to ICMG. I've been since then, that's been 20 some years now that I've been attending ICMG, Was on the board of directors for a period of time. I served on the marketing committee, the exhibit, the program committee, communications committee, served on a lot of different things. One of the things that I did personally at just almost every conference I attended, they had then and we have now a first timers orientation. And at that first timers orientation, it's just an opportunity for people that's not been there before to come in and just kind of get a preview of what they can expect over the next 2 or 3 days. What I did is I went to those ahead of time. I was there. I welcomed people as they came in. My ulterior motive was to be one of the first people that the new folks got to meet. And, that helped me make a lot of connections. And over the years, I'm not only met a lot of people, I ended up doing business with a lot of people. But that's what ICMG is all about. So.
Yeah, that's great. It's interesting because I think our timing, I mean, went to ICMG a couple times in the late 90s, mid late
Mm-hmm.
90s, but not seriously till about the same time you started attending. And I remember, that's probably where we first knew each other, not only at ICMG, but I think we ran into each other at a couple other conferences, talking about, how they're working, whether they're working, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess the next question, because I think ICMG is kind of unique for other conferences. I don't know if anybody who does not attend or is not aware of it appreciates the difference. What makes ICMG unique compared to all the other conferences you see out there? Uh,
Well, I, like you, have attended a lot of different conferences over the years. Not only attended, but exhibited at them, participated in them. So I had the opportunity to see, what a lot of those others do. I still go to conferences um, to basically to see what they're doing, what works, what doesn't work. But one of the things that makes ICMG unique is what we do. It's our focus is on helping people connect so that they can do business with each other. the um, so many other conferences, they do what they do best, and they should. A lot of them will have a lot of speakers. They have educational sessions. We do have a keynote session. We have one primary speaker, but the rest of the time we focus on helping people connect, helping them meet each other, and putting them in a situation where they can sit down and talk to somebody that they might not be able to otherwise. If I've been there, everybody's been there where you make phone calls, they're not in, you can't talk to them. They don't know who you are, so they may or may not return your phone call. But at ICMG, everybody will sit down and talk to each other. And if you're talking to somebody, they don't have what you're looking for, there's a good chance they can introduce you to somebody that does have what you're looking for. And that's one of the unique things about ICMG is just the camaraderie, the willingness of people to talk to each other. They're there for the same reason that you are, and that's to sit down and talk to somebody and find out if they've got a product or a service or something that they need that they can offer to their people. And they a lot of times they'll find that at ICMG. But that's the biggest thing is people come to ICMG for the networking.
yeah, it's interesting because I know at times we've tried more educational things, workshops, more speakers, things like that. And then sometimes, you'd put on a workshop and say, oh, 3 people showed up. We don't, but well, where was everybody's out in the lobby talking to each other and say, well, we got to fix that. And you're going, no, we don't have to fix that. That's why we're putting on this meeting. That's the purpose. If, we put on another event or a thing that doesn't attend, that doesn't mean we failed. That just means it's conflicting with what the real purpose of ICMG is. And I think that's unique. And sometimes, right, for other conferences, the networking is sort of a break from the real purpose of the meeting.
Yeah,
But that's
that
not
that
true,
is,
right?
yeah, that is
For
true. A lot of they offer the networking, but it might be 30 minutes here, 45 minutes there, maybe an hour sometime other. Um, Ours is 2.5 days, 3 days of solid networking. That's why people come. That's what we do. It's real interesting when I first attended ICMG. Hang on just a second here. I'm gonna get something to stop beeping at me here. Sorry about that.
no
The
problem.
When I first attended ICMG and you wanted to talk to somebody, you had to find a place to sit down and talk to them. And there were people literally all over the hotel outside looking for tables, looking for chairs, finding a way, a place that they could sit down and talk to each other. And if you walked the property, you saw a cluster of people here, you saw a cluster of people over there, sitting down and talking to each other. And so a number of years ago, we addressed that and we created what we call the networking home. And we now literally provide a place that people can come, sit down, talk. There's tables, there's chairs, right in our area, and that's what they're there for. Now, people still go out and they'll still go outside, they'll still go some other places, but we've provided that space for them to have those small group meetings so they can meet people. A couple years ago, we actually started putting table numbers on the tables. So they can call and say, "Hey, I'm in the networking hall. I'm at table 17." So then they know where to find that person. A lot of times they don't know who they're meeting. They know they want to meet John Doe, but they don't know what John looks like. And so by knowing that he's at table 17, they can walk up to that and say, "Hey, are you?" And it just facilitates those connections. And we focus our whole entire conference on doing things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's really, I mean, speaking as an introvert, some people don't believe I'm an introvert because I get to know them. After I get to know somebody 5 or 10 years, and I start talking. But that's to me one of the big benefits of ICMG. You had those clusters, and I was always hesitant. I'm not going to get in the middle of that cluster and start talking to people. I don't know who they are. But you've got all these vehicles with the networking hall where people clearly are looking to network with everybody else there, and it's now very easy to just sit down at a table and start talking to people, and it always works. It's very comfortable, and it's just, again, I think a unique thing. I think one of the things that for the last few years, we've grown enormously in the last 4 or 5 years. You mentioned that there were 6 people at the first
Mm-hmm.
ICMG, and I remember when I started, 300, 250 to 300, maybe as high as 320, 330 at times. It would vary. Uh, would attend, which is nice. And then I remember we had a sort of a goal, the theoretical goal. We'd like to grow to have 500 people come to our conference. That was kind of in the back of everybody's mind. Well, we've blown through that, right? We had almost as many. What, 660, 670, something like that's our record.
660 is our record. That was 2 years ago. That was our 40th annual conference at 660, but we were very, very close to that again last year. We had 600 and around 630 at our conference last year. We're on track to have probably that many again this year, if not more. So, we just people and probably what's finding what people are doing. They're finding out about ICMG. It amazes me that a conference that's been around for 40 years. And every year there's new people come to it and they say, "Gosh, I wish I'd have known about this sooner." And, we have right now, because of our growth, we'll have 150, 200 new people at ICMG. Now, those might be new people working for a company that's been coming for quite a while, but it's also people that have never attended before. Their companies have not attended. They're just now finding out about ICMG and what we do and how we work. And so they're coming to the conference. And a lot of that is through word of mouth, people telling people about ICMG. Now, we've done some things on our end from the association to where we're doing some different advertising than we've done before. When I took over as executive director, that guy said it's been in 2018 now. One of the things that I did in one of the companies that I worked in many years ago is we did little postcard mailers. And, everybody thought that postcards were, back then, even back then were in the past, direct mail type things for marketing or something like that. Nobody looked at them. But those little silly postcards that company used, they worked, and they sent out thousands of them. And so I thought, let's try that. And so we started sending out postcard mailers. And the thing about a postcard, you might look at it as junk mail, but you're going to look at both sides of it before you throw it away. Where if you get an envelope in the mail, you may open it, you may not. So that's kind of the theory of why we went to the postcards. But we've also done some. We did digital advertising. We did, of course, LinkedIn posts and things like that. We used a program, I think it's called Feather, that did digital advertising where we actually geofenced, other conferences to get our messages out. And then retargeting, where you sent those messages back out to people. We have kind of gone away from that now. This last year, we actually started advertising on LinkedIn and using LinkedIn as a medium. And part of that is because so many people that would come to ICMG are already on LinkedIn. So, our target market is already there. And that really has worked out well for us to do advertising like that. We still continue several other avenues of advertising. But, no matter what we do, at the end of the day, it's somebody telling somebody about ICMG or referring them to us to where they call us and ask some questions.
Hmm. Yeah, and to some extent, I don't think ICMG is a secret, a best kept secret, but a lot of people don't really get it until they attend because it is so unique, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's different than every other conference, and I think that's I'm hopeful it's maybe videos like this, podcasts like this, can help be one element of trying to help people understand what it's all about. So one question I had is, given all the growth we've had, and we blew through our theoretical 500 limit from a few years ago, do you have a sense of how big ICMG could or should get uh, in terms of providing the value that we provide right now? I mean, can you envision 2,000 people attending or 1,000 people attending, or is there a sweet spot size, do you think, that makes sense from the standpoint of
You,
what we do that's different than other conferences?
I don't really have a good answer to that. What we do at ICMG is scalable. So, we had, 300, then we had 400, then we had 500, now we're over 600 people. And it really has not changed the conference very much. It doesn't change what we do other than, we've got to find space for everybody. We've got to make sure that we've got the food and all that type of stuff. But as long as we can work with a hotel that can provide the space that we need for people to meet in, it doesn't make any difference whether there's 300 or 600 or 1,000. I really think, that it would still provide the value to those people. Now, we do a number of things that other conferences may or may not do. Since day one, we have always done what we call our 30-second member introductions. And
Which ICMG
that,
was famous for it, right?
yeah,
I mean, they
and
basically
that was
started it.
they the very first year they did that, and it's been done ever since then. So 40, excuse me, this will be 42 years where we've done member introductions. But what the 30-second member introduction is, it's a chance for everybody in the room to hold the mic. We're going to put the camera on and put their big screen, their picture up on the big screen so everybody can see them, they can hear them, and they've got 30 seconds to say who they are, what they're there for, what they're looking for. And in that, if you're sitting there listening to everybody else, you're going to say, hey, I need to talk to that guy because he's there for the same reason you are. You just didn't know it. But what that 30-second introduction does is gives you an opportunity to listen to everybody else in the room and say, I want to talk to that guy. And then the way we do that then is we're going to give them a badge number. So they repeat their badge number. You can write that badge number down. I said, I need to talk to the guy that's on badge 1332 or whatever. And then you can look him up in our mobile app. And that now you know who that is. And so you can text him, you can call him, you can find him at the conference, and you can say, hey, You said this. This is what I'm looking for. And again, that's been there since day one. The very first year they started that, and we do that every single year. Back to the scalability side of it, we had, we've had instances where it took, 2 hours to go through those member introductions. Well, ICMG made some changes so that we've got them down to roughly about an hour. And in that hour, you're going to hear most people. And that's part of why we cut it down to 30 seconds. And at the end of 30 seconds, it's somebody else's turn. We want to keep that moving and get through that. But that's been one of the things. Gosh, a number of years ago, I think 2015, we introduced what we call speed networking. And if you think speed dating for business, that's exactly what it is. You sit down across the table from somebody. You've got between 2.5, 3 minutes to tell them about you, find out about them. If there's a match, exchange business cards. At the end of that time, then one side of the table gets up, moves down to the next chair, and repeat the process. We go for about 90 minutes. And at the end of 90 minutes, you will have met about 30 people. And out of that, almost every single time, everybody in the room walks out and said, there's somebody in there I can do business with. The other thing they say is, I didn't get to everybody. And, if you're going to, I think this last year we had 150 people in the room doing that speed networking. It just a hub of activity and just the murmur in there. And
The energy is unbelievable during those.
Yeah. The energy is it's truly there. But there's no way that you're going to meet everybody in that 90-minute time period. So we're looking at some things that we can do to even help that out. So, can we handle 2,000 people? I don't want to find out. Can we do 750 or 800? Absolutely. Yeah. If it grew that much again this year, it would not be a problem at all. We get into that 1,000 range, 2,000 range. I've got to find different space. But where we're at right now, I could go up to, we're at 600. I could go 700. I could go 800, and I don't see it going any faster than that. Now I could get surprised. If I get surprised, that's a good thing. We will make it work. And the hotels that we work with are very willing to work with us. They have the space. We can size it. We can expand it to whatever we need and make it work. So I don't think there's a cap on it, but I'm not sure that I want to get to that 2,000 range anytime soon.
Yeah, and I guess there's another way to look at how we're expanding, because in a sense, we've done more than that, because the mid-year meetings have been a way of expanding the reach and having more people, and they've been very, very popular. I mean, I've talked about this before with you. I've been surprised at how many people will travel fairly long distances for a mid-year meeting, which is shorter, but often includes the speed networking, which is extremely popular. That that's grown enough to about much too, and I suppose we could always potentially expand that when the need arises, or when we think we've got this pent up capacity of people who want to attend.
Yeah, and we started those. We started the mid-year meeting. Just back in the day of COVID, right after COVID. So many people couldn't travel. The companies weren't letting them travel yet, but yet we had some people that wanted to get together. So we thought we would have, the concept was more on a regional basis. So our first one was in Dallas. We had 60 some people that showed up, and they came from 19 different states. So they flew in. This last one this was our fifth one, I think, fifth or sixth one. And we had over 90 people that were there, and they came in from 22 different states. Like you said, it's a shorter event. It's one day. It starts about 3:00 in the afternoon, and then goes through dinner. But the people come in, and if you looked at the comments that were made on LinkedIn from the people that had attended, very, very positive reviews over that particular event. And we get that same thing after our annual conference, after each of our different mid-year meetings. So I feel that we're doing something right. The board seems to feel that we're doing something right. And so at least for the foreseeable future, we're going to keep on the same track.
Sounds good. Yeah. So, do you have any stories or examples of how ICMG is a great place to connect and get business done? Maybe that could sort of illustrate the the unique opportunities that happen at an ICMG meeting?
There are many stories about people, telling what they've learned, the testimonials that they have. One of the nice things that we have on our website, we have a video, and actually there's several videos. We do one a year where we interview people at the conference, and they say, what are you finding out about ICMG? And if you just listen to those videos, you'll hear a lot of people in their own words tell you what they've discovered. I can speak from personal experience, at least, something that happened to me, and this was when I was attending as everybody else, just as an attendee at the conference. I was coming in to meet people, and I met a gentleman. We introduced ourselves on the elevator, riding down. We were headed down to the networking hall, and so we talked on the elevator down, and from the elevator over to the exhibit hall. I probably talked to him for 5 minutes at that, maybe six. But out of that brief introduction, that's the only time I talked to him at that event. But out of that introduction, within a year, we had him under contract, and he became my single largest client ever. So the power of ICMG and making those connections, that's what it's all about. And, that's a true story. That's a personal story. I can speak to that because it happened to me. And I'm very proud of it. The fact that ICMG did for me what it says. And that's what we're trying to do now, is make that same type of experience for everybody else that comes there. Give them the opportunity to meet those people, whether you're looking for a new product, whether you're looking for new distribution, whether you want somebody to do a private label product for you, you got something unique you want to bring to the marketplace. ICMG is the place to bring it, because there's people there that you can meet that will be looking for what you have to offer.
Yeah. And it's such an efficient way to do things. I mean, yeah, you travel and there's a cost of traveling and all that kind of stuff. But to have all those people in one place, I mean, a couple years ago at one of the mid-year meetings, I was introduced to a guy who owns an insurance company that's like 15 minutes away from my house that I didn't even know existed. And I never would have found him other than the fact that I was there and somebody says, "Oh, you're in Oak Brook. You should talk to Chuck. He lives right around there." And so it's just there's opportunities to meet people. And I know a lot of members come. All their clients or a lot of their clients are at the meeting, and they come to meet with all their existing clients as well as new ones. And it's a very efficient way to do that, rather than trying to go all over the country visiting city after city. So it's really good. Um, okay, so if a new prospective member is thinking about attending ICMG, do you have any advice on how they obviously they can sign up and attend? We've got a website. What's it? ICMG.org, and they can sign up. Any advice though as to how they get the best out of ICMG and maybe get involved? I know it's really helped me to be involved in committees and on the board and stuff like that. But your thoughts on well, how you would advise as a prospective member, or how you do provide prospective members on how they should go about attending.
One of the things I tell new people, number one, bring lots of business cards because you're going to need them. Number two, at the conference itself, be sure to attend that first timers orientation, because it's going to give you kind of an overview, like I said, of what's going to happen. It's going to give you a first chance to meet some people. There's networking that happens in that room, and that's what we kick the day off with on Tuesday. Really, Tuesday morning we have that first timers orientation, and then the general session starts after lunch. But don't hesitate. The other thing is, don't hesitate ahead of time. We put the information out to our attendees. They have access to the names and contact information of other people that will be there. Don't hesitate to go through that list and reach out to them ahead of time, and say, hey, I want to meet you at ICMG. This is what I want to talk about. And you'll find when you get there that there's a lot of people that have already booked their meetings. So they know they're going to talk to, 6 people this day, 8 people that day, 10 people maybe, they've already got those meetings booked. And don't hesitate to do that. So, we have people that come to the meeting that they've not done any preparatory work. They come there. Yes, they get to do the introductions. Yes, they do the speed networking, and they get to talk to a few people. Then they say, well, I wanted to talk to this person, but he's all booked up. Well, again, don't hesitate to do that ahead of time. Find out who you want to visit with. We have in the member profile, we've got something to where they can put in there, just a short description of what they're looking for or what they're offering, and go through those and see what the other people have. Now, not everybody's filled them out. I wish they would, but it definitely helps. So I always encourage new people, be sure to fill that out, put that in there, and then people know what you're having, what you've got, what you're offering, and just that much more encouragement for somebody to sit down and visit with you.
Yeah. Yeah, those are always great. I love if I get a contact ahead of the meeting, because again, the introvert of me is thinking I'm going to stand at a cocktail party holding a drink in the corner and not introducing myself. I'm getting a little better at that in my old age than I used to, but it's nice to have that somebody saying, "Gee, I want to specifically talk to you when I'm there."
Yeah.
And I think that's the reaction most people have that attend the meeting. That that's what they're going for, and to have somebody reach out and do that, especially the new people. I mean, that's really again, I think a unique and interesting kind of thing about ICMG. So here's another sort of out there question. I don't know. And is there anything in the industry? I mean, the insurance industry is changing rapidly at all the time, and all kinds of issues. Any trends or history in the industry that affects ICMG that we have reacted to, or should react to, or will react to, in terms of changes in the business? And if you don't have anything for that, that's fine. I just thought it's an interesting question. If there's maybe not an interesting answer, I don't know.
Well, I'm not sure that there is an interesting answer for that. I know one of the things that probably is a hot topic right now is AI. Can we incorporate that into what we do with ICMG? We would like to find a way to better match up people. I'm looking for this, and you offer that. And how do I match those two people up? If we can find a better way to do that, we certainly would take a look at that and try to figure out if we can do that. There's a lot of change in the industry, like you said, but at the same time, there's a lot of constant because people are still selling product. They need the product. They need to find out where that product is. How can they get it? How can they get it out to their distribution center? And that's what ICMG is, that kind of that intermediate, if you will, to where we're bringing those two people together so they can have a chance to talk to each other. I got an email in earlier just today from a gentleman that said he met somebody at ICMG that he could not have met anywhere else. Now, I'm going to do a little follow-up and find out why he said that. But I hear that type of thing over and over again. And I know personally I experienced it before I became the executive director. And we try to continue that, making it that place where people can come knowing that they're going to meet somebody. The other part of that is the willingness of everybody to talk to each other. And again, if I don't have what you're looking for, I might know somebody that does have. There's been lots of people over the years that I've introduced people to or been introduced to, one way or the other, looking for what each of us had, and so we can make those connections.
Yeah, great. Now, you sort of covered some of this with talking about AI as something in the future that we can do more of, to, again, with the focus on networking, not just do AI to do AI. A lot of companies do. But are there any other plans you see for the future that might be new or different that we're not currently doing at ICMG, or is it's working so well? Let's just continue to build on what we've done.
I never want to get complacent to where we're not willing to look at new things. We've added quite a little bit over the years. And everything that we seem to add seems to has been a benefit. And a couple of examples, we did the speed networking back in 2015. That's probably, if not, it's very close to being the single most popular event that we host. Like I said, we had 150 people in the room last year talking to each other for an hour and a half. One person at a time for 2 or 3 minutes, and then the next person. And the energy, like you said, is truly in that room. We added a couple of years ago. We added a welcome reception. Our event you didn't used to kick off until Tuesday morning, and we added a Monday night welcome reception because people were there. They wanted to get started on the networking, and so we added that event. That's been a hit. This year, we're going to add something even sooner than that. We've always hosted a golf tournament where people are golfing for charity. We're raising funds for charity, and literally 100% of the funds raised go to the charity. We do not keep any of it for administration or anything like that. But we also have a lot of people who aren't golfing. So if we've got 100 golfers on the course and we've got 600 people coming to the conference, that means I've got 500 people that what are they doing? Well, a lot of them have already set up meetings, but we're doing something a little different this year. As people arrive, they can come down there. We're going to have an afternoon informal networking session. We're going to have some games. We're going to have probably maybe some table tennis, maybe some miniature putt-putt, maybe some cornhole. Who knows exactly what we're going to do. But it'll be down on the patio, grand patio, just outside of where registration is at. So you can come in, you can pick up your name badge, and then you can go out and start talking to people. So again, we're bringing people together for that purpose, and so we're going to facilitate it any way that we can. But like I mentioned earlier, I do go to other conferences. I look and see what they're doing. I know that they come to mine too, and that's certainly okay. I'm happy to have them there. But if I see something that's working over there, I'm going to try it here. If I see something that's not working over there, then I try to find out why, and we may or may not do it. If we think we can improve on it, we might. But if it's not working there, there's a chance it's not going to work at ours either. So we just try to stay away from something like that. But again, anything that we can do to facilitate that networking, you meeting somebody else that you can do business with, we're going to try to find a way to do it.
Great. Okay, well, I got one last question for you. I'll let you get on with your day and rest your throat for a while. Again, this you mentioned a little bit about getting people getting involved. We have committees. We have about the whole governance, how things happen, and how how the governance works. I know I got involved in committees and then on the board to a certain extent. I don't know how it happened. I got roped into it by an iconic member who said, Chuck, you should do this. And I listened to him and I did this. I'm glad I did. But for people who want to understand how it works and maybe want to get involved in the governance at some point on ICMG, how does that work? And how does the governance in general work for ICMG?
Well, ICMG, I'm the executive director. I've got a staff here in my office. It's not a big staff. It doesn't need to be a big staff. We do a lot of outsourcing with, my IT is outsourced. Our graphic design is outsourced. So we do outsource quite a little bit because we may only need it for just a short period out of the year. But between me and my staff, we try to make things happen. But it can't happen without the board of directors. I've got a tremendous board that I work with. We meet on a monthly basis, at least by phone, and 3 or 4 times a year we'll meet face to face and say, okay, this is what we're doing. What direction do we need to go? Or if I got questions, should we do this? Should we do that? They come back with suggestions. So I've got a board of directors that I work with that is extremely helpful, and truthfully, I couldn't do what I do without them. The other side of the coin is, and something that I got involved in, sounds like you did as well, but getting involved in the committees. And that's really, we need those committees. We've got 2 or 3 of them that really help us. Our marketing committee, they give me ideas on different types of marketing we do. They review our marketing material. Each of them that's on that committee are, they're kind of focused on the marketing for their companies as well. And so they can come back and say, well, try this, try that, don't do this, consider that. And so we look at things like that. We've got a networking committee, and the networking committee, they're really the ones that do the outreach. It would be extremely difficult for me to personally call, several hundred people prior to a conference. But through that committee, they're either going to email them, they're going to call them, and each one of them, they may have 10 or 15 names on their list. And, 10 or 15 people they can call. But again, without their help, they can promote it from a totally different perspective than what I can do. Because, they're there, they're at the conference, they're doing what they're asking other people to come in and do. And so between those two committees, we've got a couple others. We've got an exhibits committee. We've got a technology committee that we looked at. We just completely have redone our entire website, updated it, refreshed it, made it look better, added some things to it. So, I get, I get input and advice from those people, again, from the board as well. And it's really, it's a collaborative area, venture, because I've got a lot of people that's helping to make it work, make it run smooth. And again, without the support of the board and the committees, it would be very difficult for me to do it on my own. So,
Okay. Well, I think I'm going to stop there and let you get back to your day-to-day business. I really appreciate you agreeing to sit down with us. We're a little over time from what we expected, but that's okay, because I think there's a lot of interesting things, and hopefully we get some people to view this podcast and learn a little bit more about ICMG. Use it for that. So again, I appreciate it, and we'll be talking soon, since we talk pretty often.
you're welcome. I look forward to seeing you in Miami, if not sooner, and invite a friend. So talk to you. Thanks,
Sounds
Chuck.
good. Okay, take it easy.
Bye.